So today we're going to cover a video that's more about just the entire process of add-ons, accessories, and different pieces of the experience in the retail operation when it comes to, like I said, whether it's our products or any products that's an accessory or an add-on, and what the scope of that looks like, the process, and what we've done to kind of break it down and make it easier for everyone. The process really comes down into a couple different pieces. They are the appearance, knowing your product, the right mindset, the interaction, and simplifying the process, and lastly, overcoming any objections. Let's go into the appearance section first, and let's kind of talk about what goes into that. So obviously the big thing is going to be just the actual appearance of your store, how you're displaying accessories, how you're representing yourself in clothing and attire and your team as, and just making sure that it's a friendly, open environment with stuff on display that they can look at, clean, and just a place that looks like you want to go spend money at. One of the pieces that we kind of just talked about that I want to make sure we recover is just the organization of your accessories is a very huge piece, and marketing material that you have on your wall. I know I mentioned it before, but making sure that the buyer or your customer, your client, however you want to look at it, can see your product, see everything that goes into it, and get reminded several times throughout the entire, time they spend inside your location is huge. So you need to make sure that you have a good, clean looking display out and marketing material for them to see. Just keep their mind in the buying process. So the next piece is knowing your product. Obviously, you really need to understand the product to be able to sell it. If you're not confident in it, understand everything that goes into it, you're gonna have a really hard time selling it. So when you're learning about your products and training on them, what does that really help you do? It helps you boost your enthusiasm. You can use them yourself, you can use them with your family. Make sure people around you have them so you really just get a good grasp on what it is you like about it and how you can explain it to other individuals in the store that you may be possibly selling it to. It's going to grow your confidence in it, obviously. If you're using the product yourself and have family members using those products, it's going to make you confident in the product because you're using it and have loved ones using it, making it just that much easier for you to be able to put in a display out and put it on for sale and be able to sell it to someone else. Knowing the price points, nothing is worse in any type of a sale when you're trying to explain a product and get somebody to buy it from you and you don't know the correct price points to what it is you're trying to sell. So make sure that you really know the pricing structure from top to bottom, so that way you're not looking down at pamphlets all the time. Obviously, if you're new or it's a new product, it's a different story, but after a week or two of a product being out, you should really know most of those things in the back of your head. Knowing what's in stock, this is one of the biggest things that I see people fail in, is making sure that they have stuff in stock, good selections, colors, blah, blah, blah. But not only that, when they are out, they don't know it, and then they pitch it to the customer, and it's not in stock, and it just doesn't look good, kind of puts a damper in the whole solution itself. So make sure you know what you have in stock. When you are selling accessories, you're not a salesman in my mind. You are a solution provider, is I think the word that I like to call it. You're looking for areas that you can help consumers or clients, whatever you want to call them, and fill that gap and void for them. It's a solution you're trying to provide, not a product you're trying to sell. If you're trying to sell a product, you're going to struggle because you're just thinking about the product and the dollar sign. When you look at the solution, you're looking at a problem, you're solving it, and you're showing value. And that is the difference between a salesman and somebody who really understands people's needs, wants, and issues with what they're trying to do, becomes very good at what they do and provides a solution. The next piece of the mindset would be the trusting the solutions, which goes into the last piece that we talked about knowing the product, using the product, and being confident in it. If you can provide the solution that is needed by that consumer and you trust it, it's going to be a very easy process trying to add accessories onto repairs, purchases, or just walk-ins. You're going to know their needs, you're going to understand their life, you're going to build a bond with them at that point, and you're going to be confident in the product. It's very hard to fail at that point on trying to sell accessories unless they physically just don't need accessories. Being positive in the solution will resonate with the customer. If you are extremely confident and positive that you have a product or service that is going to fix their problem, they are going to see that, they're going to feel it, and they're going to want to spend money and understand it because they can see the value in what it is you are trying to get them to buy that day. So the last piece of that one would be the continuing education, just making sure you're staying up with all of the products, and whether it's the accessories themselves or the products that go along with the accessories and how they work together, so that way if there is a solution that comes to mind with the way the industry is moving, you kind of are keeping up with it. So the big piece of this obviously is the interaction, where we get a lot of questions on how do you talk to the consumer about accessories, how do you bring stuff up into the conversation, how do you find those solutions without just blurting out, what do you want to buy? It's really, really easy. The biggest piece that I can always recommend people is never to judge a book by its cover. Some of our best clients and people that have come into our store that we've worked with at this point are people you would never have guessed from the way they appeared or how they looked when they came in the door. So my big piece of the interaction is never judge a book by its cover. If you do that, you are eliminating a customer base before you even know anything about them, and that's just not a good way to start off the interaction. So you need to figure out their needs, and then you need to tailor a solution to fit those needs, which is kind of what we've talked about quite a bit. And you need to understand what device they have, what the issues are that they've run into in the past, and how you can fix that. The big things you need to know that go into that are, how do they use their device on a daily basis? What do they do for a living? That way you can understand, really the scope of how their phone's being used physically every day. Is it indoor? Is it outdoor? Like, do they work in an office? Do they climb rocks on the weekends for fun? You need to really know those questions to be able to provide a solution for them. Does anybody else use the device, and what do they do in their free time? So, if they have kids, you're going to be able to figure out that question really quickly, so you can understand if there's other people using the device. Free time kind of goes into hobbies and interests that may cause a different solution for you. And one of the big questions I always ask is like, what's your favorite, your least favorite and your favorite accessory you've ever used? That way maybe you can get a general idea of what it is that this customer kind of likes. So the big question that goes into this one that has been huge, super helpful for us is, how did you break it? We actually have a video and giveaway series on this on social media at this point that kind of stemmed from the original question that I used to ask customers when they came in was, how did you break the phone? It's one of the easiest things that you can do when you're in the repair process of check-in to break the ice. Usually when they come in and they're getting their phone fixed, they're already usually not too thrilled about spending money. But usually they may have a fun story or a funny story, and it just kind of cuts through that ice and that icebreaker at the beginning of the conversation. How did you break it? And then that'll give you an idea of exactly what's happened and maybe how to get into those questions that I just talked about without feeling so awkward and having that bond kind of built. So it's really simple. How did you break it? I was asking that, and then once they tell me, I always let them know that I'm sorry to hear that, but we're here to help. And then you can kind of go into your process from there. It breaks the ice, it builds the bond. They see that you are, compassionate about them breaking their device. Obviously, we are repair shops, but we don't hope that people break their devices. In the interaction phase after that, and you've kind of got over the first discovery questions, it's really straightforward. If you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. You need to be using value and not cost. How much value will the product have that fills their needs, and not how much will it cost them? Showing them the benefits and not features. These are real life individuals, and they're not usually going to be a tech-oriented human. So showing them the benefits of the products and not the features is going to be super helpful. Secondary add-ons and the accessories will be very easy once you've built a bond with the consumer. It'll be, have they mentioned other devices? Have they talked about kids, family members, etc., that you may be able to have solutions for that day too? And lastly, once again, the close is, if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. Always going to be no. Do you want me to go ahead and set you up with this package today? Do you want to go ahead and get that screen protector in case? Do you want to get this, this, and this? You have to ask for the close. But you don't have to be that in-your-face salesman the entire time. The last couple pieces of this are simplifying the process, which is what we've done very well, and what the rest of this series is about is simplifying the process. Accessory bundles, making it easy for your team and the consumer to understand. In-store signage, which we've already covered heavily. The repair and device purchases is bundling the accessories into the repair and into the devices, which we've talked about shortly. Express repairs, have you added the 30-minute feature to your lineup of getting a screen repair done quickly and having people pay a fee to do that, or bundling it into a accessory package? So lastly is going to be overcoming objections, which is usually the easiest piece for me and the hardest piece for everyone else. There's always going to be 3 tiers of solutions in the accessory game in my mind. There's going to be the affordable, there's going to be this little middle ground accessory plan, and then there's always going to be the premium. You should know the answer to every single person coming through the door if you ask the right questions of where they're going to fall in this concept. If you follow this process and you're looking for those 3 style of customers by asking the right questions and understanding their needs and offering a solution, you're going to avoid the really big objections, which are going to be, I can find it cheaper online, I don't need it, or I don't like the style, color, feel, etc. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be a portion of customers that walk through that front door every day that just are not going to buy accessories. They either don't need them because they already have them, or they just don't want them and don't use them. But if you follow the rest of this process, can do the discovery phase, build a bond with the customer, and be a solution provider, you're going to sell way more accessories than you ever did in the past. And when you do that, it's going to be way easier than you ever thought it was as well, because you're looking at it as a solution and a problem instead of just an add-on. So that's kind of the accessory discovery phase, sale phase, solution provider phase that we kind of wanted to add to this series. Like I said, you can apply this to any accessory that you're selling in the store. It doesn't have to be the cover, power, brand. We thought it was super important though to add a video into this series that really talks about how we've looked at the accessory upsell process and how we kind of use the discovery phase and close phase to make sure that we are doing everything the way we should be and optimizing our door swings on a daily basis. So thanks for tuning in.